Good morning, everyone, and welcome to SCORE's webinar on LinkedIn. And we are blessed to have Mary Wu here that's going to talk about avoiding the LinkedIn pitfalls. She is the master of LinkedIn. If you need any LinkedIn advice, if you're looking for being able to explode your business, Mary is the person to get in contact with, and she will be giving you her contact information at the end of the presentation. I know I hired her for my business, and I was amazed at what I was able to do with her coaching. So without further ado, Mary Wu, would you like to take it over? Oh,
Okay,
before I turn it over, I'm sorry. We're going to have a large number of people here today. So rather than you being able to speak, if you would enter any of your comments or questions into chat. If you do not have access to chat, please put them in the Q&A, and Mary and I will be monitoring those and making sure that you are heard. Okay, so thank you, Mary, and over to you.
Okay, quick question. Can anybody still not find the chat? Because the link is in the chat, but the chat, oh, hold on. Sorry, my bad. I put it to hosts and panelists instead of putting it to everybody.
And for those of
Now
you
the link is going
listening,
to everyone.
please make sure you do the same. When you're in the chat, change the to everyone.
Okay, I make mistakes too. Hi, I am Mary Wu, and I am a LinkedIn speaker, trainer, consultant, expert. I know quite a few things about the platform, and I love to help people build their business through using LinkedIn, which is, I'll tell you about that in a minute. I'm going to tell you why you should be on LinkedIn and tell you why you should listen to me. Then I'm going to tell you some things to do and not to do and why I'm telling you that. And I also, when I do a presentation, always add in the notes an activity outline, some action steps, and contact information. As Michelle mentioned, ask questions in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll try to keep an eye out on that. So why LinkedIn? Last year, I think it was 2024, LinkedIn hit 1 billion members. Now, not all of those are active, not all of those are in the US, and not all of those are your clients, but some of them are, and those are the people that you're wanting to talk to. Typically, when people are on LinkedIn, they're in a business mode. They're there to learn, they're there to find out information. If I'm on Instagram, I am there either to find out, I live in Nashville. I'm there to find out which musicians are playing where and when, or I'm there to watch videos of puppies. I'm not there to purchase. I'm not there to buy. I'm not there to spend money until I get to the honky tonk. Most members on LinkedIn have college degrees. If you're looking to work with corporations, many people in the CEOs, the decision makers in the corporation are active on LinkedIn. And people aren't just using LinkedIn as a place to go to look for jobs or to look for people to hire. They're using it as a networking device, as a place to meet other people and learn things. So LinkedIn's a great platform, right? Why should you listen to me? I'm actually not going to tell you that. On the note sheet that I handed you, you can go to LinkedIn and look at the recommendations that other people have sent me. I know there's at least one person, hi Allison, in this room that has sent me a recommendation on there. So check those out. Also, there is a link from John Asperian. He is a LinkedIn expert in the UK. He runs the UK's LinkedIn conference, and he has listed me as a LinkedIn person to follow. So my clients like me and my colleagues like me, which is fabulous. We're going to talk about covering the pitfalls. And the reason I'm doing this, Michelle asked me, what do you want to talk about, Mary? And it was on a week where I had a couple of people reach out to me because they had lost access to their LinkedIn account. And I know some of the action steps that people do that they think are harmless and that could lose them access to their account. There are people that are making suggestions, do this on LinkedIn. And People don't realize that the things that are being suggested are against the terms and conditions. Did you know the LinkedIn user agreement contains 17 pages, not counting all the things they want you to link out to look at? Yeah, who in here reads every page of every user agreement? I'm willing to bet that most of us do not. But pro tip, if you ever have insomnia, print that thing out. You'll be out before the first page. LinkedIn can decide to remove your account for not following what's on the user agreement. LinkedIn is inconsistent about the way they do this. Sometimes they will just run through and bam, 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 and people will disappear. And sometimes they'll let things go. And as a person that's in the LinkedIn trainer and consultant universe, it drives us crazy that they're not consistent, because we would love to see them sort of move out the people that are bad players, but they don't necessarily always do it. So first things to do is, on any platform, on LinkedIn, on your bank, wherever, set up two-factor authentication. It's a pain in the butt. It drives me nuts that every time I go to my bank, I have to put in my name and my password, and then they'll send me something on my phone, and then I have to put in the code for my phone, and then I have to put in my password again. And I also realize how much worse it would be if somebody managed to hack into that account. So protect yourself by making sure that you had this. Also, it is important on LinkedIn to use your legal name as your name, and only your legal name. You could maybe put in some initials for things that you're qualified for, like a PhD or other things, but it doesn't want you using your name field inappropriately. LinkedIn also does not like emojis in the name field, and people have lost their accounts for doing that, managed to get them back. But even though the people that have lost their accounts are really high profile on LinkedIn, there's still trainers that are telling people to use an emoji, it'll get more attention, or use spaces, because then the data scrapers can't come and get you. We're going to go through some basic do's and don'ts. And if you have the printout, if something has a red X in front of it, it's something you should not do. If something has 3 red X's in front of it, it is something that you could lose your account for doing. So I wanted to make sure I had a distinction between don't spam people and don't allow somebody else to access your account. There's different punishments for that. Did you know there are roughly 16 to 20 sections of the LinkedIn profile? Most people don't realize that. I know people who have written books that don't realize there's a publications section. There are people that don't realize there's a featured section where you can put in videos. There's a lot of different sections on LinkedIn, and depending on how long you've had your account, there may have been things added that weren't there when you started, and you can start putting them in now. So that's something to think about. In the handout, I put a link to where LinkedIn lists out all of the different profile sections. Another tip is to have at least 2 email addresses associated with your account. I've seen it happen where somebody has a job and it's wonderful, and they use LinkedIn and they've gotten it through their job and their job's email. And it happens, we've seen it happen, and it's happening weirdly this year. You find out that you no longer have a job and you no longer have access to that job's email. And if you're using that as your only way to access LinkedIn, now you no longer have access to LinkedIn. So make sure you have 2 accounts. I have a business account and a personal account. I use both of those. I highly, highly recommend using at least 2 email addresses. Another tip, create a newsletter. I have a MailChimp newsletter and I have a LinkedIn newsletter, and I like having something that I own. The MailChimp newsletter I send out, that's mine. The LinkedIn newsletter, they sort of own it. It's rental property that I'm using, but I get a much different open rate on the two platforms. So I like the open rate, and when I like an open rate, that's what I'll use. And yes, Marty, 2 emails. You never heard this before. Every time I do a LinkedIn presentation, somebody will say, I never knew that. There's a lot of I never knew that that'll come up today. Use your real name. I've mentioned this already, and nothing else. Last year, I think it was last year, LinkedIn added the ability to verify your account. You're going to have to do this on your phone, not on your desktop, and you're going to have to use a government issued ID in order to verify your account. Two reasons you should do that is if anybody ever tries to hack your account and manages to steal that, Marty, go to the phone and start doing that. Yes, 2 emails on the same LinkedIn profile, only have one profile. LinkedIn does not allow 2 profiles. So back to verification, you'll do it on your phone and they'll walk you through it. I don't even remember, I did it when it first came out. I might have used my driver's license. I might have used my passport. Any government issued ID. And the people that are doing that are clear. So they're the same people when you head up to BNA and they're trying to get your ID so that you can get the fast pass. They're those same people. So it's a very well-vetted corporation that's pulling in that information. So verify your account so that if you lose it, you'll be able to say, this is my account, this is the ID I verified it with. Also, if you're in any kind of a field where you're getting sensitive information, if you're in banking, if you're in insurance, if you're somebody who's going to get my personal information, I want to know that you've been through a little bit of vetting process, and that little check mark that says you're verified shows me that you did that. I have a rule about the headshot, and I call it the coffee shop rule. I have met people at coffee shops that I have never met in real life, and the only thing I had to go on was their LinkedIn profile photo. And one time I met somebody, as we were walking in from the parking lot, I'm like, oh, Les, it's you. I know it's you because this matches your picture. You should be able to be found in public by something that matches your LinkedIn headshot. And I know sometimes we change things. We change hair color. Women do that. Guys don't often. We'll change a lot of things. So keep it up to date. Then 3 things in this section, on the profile section, that you could lose your account. You could lose your account if you have more than one account. LinkedIn will decide to get rid of both of them. I've seen it happen. You're not allowed to use special characters in your name section unless you have a name that fits a special character. True story, there's a woman named Leah Turner, and she changed her middle name to Rainbow so that she could use the rainbow emoji in her name. It's completely legal, and LinkedIn had to let her do it when she changed her name. Also, do not allow anyone else to access your account. You can have people access things that can't access your account. So you can have somebody access scheduling through Buffer or Hootsuite, and that will go into your LinkedIn account, but they can't log in onto LinkedIn as you. And what I've seen happen is there might be a VA. Often it's a foreign VA because they'll start noticing all of these logins for different accounts coming in from the same IP address that's not located where any of the accounts are. Everyone will lose their account. Jennifer Redmond, yeah, we also wonder why sometimes parties are able to access users' profile. People go in with data that like digs at stuff. It's not allowed, and LinkedIn is getting more aware of it and starting to close some things down. But there are still people that do that, and they try to stop it, and guess what? They always find ways around it. There are approved apps. That's on the next page, and I'll have a link to that in the notes.
Mary, if you
Yes.
would, not everyone has access to the chat. Would you please read the question before you answer it?
Okay, I will do that. That is a good question. So Jennifer
Also,
asked,
I'm sorry,
oh, go on.
Marty Orr asked, he would like clarification on what is accepted as a government ID.
It could be either I know driver's license and passport are both accepted as government ID. There are probably other things I'm fairly certain a military ID would count. Anything that is issued, anything you can use to get through TSA, basically. So an official government ID. And if you go in to do the verification, there will be a list on that when you click the button that says verify this profile. And it was a year and a half ago.
Oh, Robin is asking if you can share your screen with the notes displayed.
Uh, that would be weird, but I guess I could.
Yeah, just share screen.
Okay. And oh yeah, Robin, you can get the notes from the chat if you can find the chat, but I will share screen. Oh, and I've got some things in the Q&A. So this is a good place to break for a Q&A. Okay, share screen for those questions were both answered. And let me move my, there we go. Sorry, boom, it'll take me a second, share screen. Okay, here we are. I've got to go back to where I am because this is where I ended up printing it. So it's a little bit harder though for me when I'm sharing screen to see the chat and the Q&A. So Michelle will have to kind of back me up on this. But once we've got this up, we can also see where the breaks are. So that's a good time to double back for Q&A and chats. All right, now so the first section was all about things in the profile. The next section is all going to be things about postings. The one thing I love about LinkedIn, and I came up with this when I was doing a training once, the members of LinkedIn are not goldfish. They have an attention span more than 6 minutes, and this is where you can put longer articles, more information in your posts. You have to grab them in the first 6 seconds, but you don't lose them once you've grabbed them. So they're not disappearing down rabbit holes. Does that make sense? They will stay if you can interest them. So you can write more information. And one of the things I found, people really follow people on LinkedIn that give a lot of information. So I'm actually adding it. Oh, actually, I'm not going to do that because I'm not sure the name spelling, so I won't do that right now. People that tend to give a lot tend to get a lot because when you're giving, people get to know, like, and trust you. And Kevin D. Turner is an amazing person. He is I call him the wise old man of LinkedIn. He reports on a regular basis, every few weeks, the changes that have come through on LinkedIn, things that have been added, things that have been deleted, other changes that are going on. The reason he does this is because everybody sends him this stuff. He's sort of our clearinghouse for changes. So if you're focused on LinkedIn and want to make sure you're covering anything that's changing, ask him. If you run across something and you're not sure why it's not working, reach out to me and say, Mary, I used to be able to do this and I can't anymore. True story. Last year, I did a video on how to download your LinkedIn data. Easy thing to do. You can download your information. I had to change it 2 weeks later because LinkedIn went and changed how that was done. That's how quickly things happen, and they don't tell us. When you're posting, you should be running out and commenting on other people's posts, but you should also not ignore comments on your post. When somebody is engaging with your information and you're ignoring them, that's going to hurt your algorithm because LinkedIn wants to create a network of people that are interacting. It doesn't want to create a network of people that are just ignoring each other. The other thing not to do is what we call post and ghost, where you post something and then completely ignore the platform. If you're posting, you should be interacting with other people's content before your post goes live. You should be interacting with people that are interacting with your post. And I have known people that have met other humans in the comment section and have gone on to have collaborations. So the comment section is actually a great networking tool that people don't realize is a great networking tool. I know a lot of people are writing using ChatGPT and Claude and stuff these days, and it's kind of okay as long as you're not leaning on it and not paying attention to what you're doing. We've all seen things that don't make any sense, and then when you check out, it just came out of one of the AI programs, and nobody actually fact checked it. And we need to do that. Also, when I'm going to be doing this because I have a post scheduled for Friday. I have scheduled a post for Friday, and there's a person that's in this group right now, Allison Verhalen, that I tagged in that post. One person, it'll show her name in blue. This puts the post in front of other people, my people and her people, and she can react to it. What I've seen people do is tag like 30 or 40 people. LinkedIn will notice if you're tagging people and they aren't responding, and they will punish you for that by moving your post down in the feed. So if you're tagging people, make sure that they're there and that it's content that's useful for them to be tagged in. If it doesn't make sense, don't tag them in it. Since we're at the end of this section, I'm going to pop over to the Q&As. Respond to a comment. Right. So Patricia, if you create a post and somebody makes a comment, then just reply to that comment. There we go. Oh, Robin, you're smart if you follow Kevin. You really are. And I think that's yeah, and there's one more. Comments do hold a lot of weight. I have met people in the comment section. I actually last week found somebody, I was looking for somebody to refer to someone who had come to me, and I found the person in some comments that they had made on posts. So Kevin D. Turner's post. How about that?
Mary, you have two Q&A questions.
Yeah, I just hit, oh, hold on. I thought I hit those. No, I didn't hit those. I hit the chat, but I didn't hit the Q&A. Thanks. Kevin Link, just go to LinkedIn and search for Kevin D. Turner, because right now I've got the Zoom window open and the notes window open. It would be an extra layer to try to get Kevin Turner's link into here. So search for Kevin D. Turner on LinkedIn and then tell him I still sent one to you. And then I'm going back to Marty, who doesn't understand why LinkedIn needs a government ID. Not everyone can get one. LinkedIn does not need a government ID. If you want to verify your account, you'll need a government ID to verify that. And if you are in one of the fields I mentioned, if you're in banking or insurance or somebody who gets a lot of personal information from people, it's good to have your account verified. So if you can't verify, you can't verify, and that's fine. I know there are some people that for various reasons can't access a government ID. So don't stress it too much unless you're in one of those fields. But know that if LinkedIn decides to remove your account because somebody hacked it, you'll have no way to show that it was yours. So that's where it hits hard. Right now,
Robin just posted Kevin
that was
Turner.
that was another thing in the Q&A. Oh, we got another Q&A? Why verify can't is what Marty wrote. So I said, if you can't, you can't, but if you can, please do. And I forgot to read that question first. Okay, there. And thank you. All right. Quick sip of water here, because I have 30 minutes left. Okay, for practice, just general practice on LinkedIn, when you're looking at posts, curate what works for you. I know sometimes LinkedIn will feed you things that you might not like. You can unfollow people. You can double click bells to follow people a little bit better. You can set notifications for things. And another thing you could do is create bookmarks. The scope and timing in this session, I cannot walk through how to create bookmarks. I have a small teaching thing for that that's for sale if you need it, but that's not what we're here for. I'm going to show you real quick, and Allison, I'm going to pick on you. Because I know she's in here, and I know I pick on her a lot, even when she's not in the room. So Allison Verhalen is a connection of mine. And if we look up here, we go into her profile and look up here, we see this bell. You can turn the bell off, in which case I won't see anything she says. You can also say that you want to see what LinkedIn thinks are her most relevant posts, or you can say you want notifications about all her posts. If you save that, then when you're on LinkedIn up over here in notifications, it will let me know every time Allison makes a post. And I want that. Allison talks about SEO. She's really smart about that stuff. And sometimes SEO is a little bit above my pay grade. So it's good to know somebody who knows what's going on in the SEO world that I can lean on for that, which is why I follow her. And depending on what industry you're in, what you're doing, sometimes it's useful to have those few people that know more than you do, so that you can go and learn from them. The other thing you want to do also, though, is be the person that knows more than somebody else, so that they'll be able to lean on you and follow you. And if you're posting information, if you're posting long form, then you can be that person. So I said, don't post a coach. Okay. Let's see. Just gonna go back over to the notes and quickly check the Q&A. No one answered. Oh. Marty, we don't care about your speaker's tea right now. That's like, yeah. It's not here. Let's see. Allison is used to me picking on her. And thank you, Robin, for putting Kevin Turner's link in. And Allison. All right, now for private DMs. A lot of people will tell me that they don't like to be on LinkedIn because they're always getting spammed in the DMs. I am always getting spammed in the DMs, but one of the things I've done on LinkedIn, because we can, is I make sure I'm having conversations all the time, valuable conversations with very specific individuals. So I'm not actually going to show you guys this, but if I went up to my messages right now, I only have one. Most of my messages would be things that are of value to me. And when you're getting a lot of good stuff, it's easier to ignore the spam. So make sure that you're networking with people that are of value to your network. LinkedIn, think of it as an online networking place. And sometimes you go networking and you meet really great people and you make connections with them and you can have partnerships or you can work together in some way or another. And that's fabulous. And then you have that one person that's just coming in, walking up to everybody, flipping out their business card for 30 seconds and walking away. Those are kind of like the spammers. They're easier to ignore if you've got a lot of really great connections and conversations that are happening on LinkedIn. So don't mind those messages. That's weird. Just a second, I lost my notes. I popped in a weird place. Oh, okay. So curate your best feed through the bookmarks and notes. Study your engagement. What is LinkedIn telling you? And you can go to linkedin.com/dashboard. Somebody remind me to add that to the notes later. And it will show you a lot of information about what's going on in your world. So this is the one thing I love. It tells me increase your visibility by posting or commenting. We suggest taking 3 actions every week. LinkedIn is not asking you to be on there all day, every day. LinkedIn is asking you to be active a couple of times a week. And that's where I think LinkedIn really outshines the other platforms. Because in order to get your stuff seen on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, you just have to be on there all the time, fighting against all the other stuff that's on the platform. On LinkedIn, if you are posting 2 or 3 times a week, if you're posting once a week, you're way ahead of the curve of everybody else on LinkedIn. So it doesn't take as much time investment. If you're looking for a LinkedIn trainer, Janice Berian has a list of LinkedIn experts to follow. These are great people just to find them on LinkedIn and follow them to learn about it. That link is in the notes. And the other thing you can do, and I'm not going to walk through this because it takes too many pages, you can download your data. So especially if you're not going to be listening to me about things like verifying your account and making sure that you don't join an engagement pod, make sure that you back up your data so that if you lose access to your account, you'll know at least the names of the people that you were connected with. Back in 2017, before Microsoft bought LinkedIn, they used to also add the email addresses to that. They don't anymore, but at least you'll have the names and maybe can find some of the people. Now, 2 things that can get you in really big trouble in this area are joining an engagement pod. There are people that you can pay them money to join a group where you are required to interact with every single post from everybody else in that group. And then everybody else in that group will instantly engage with yours. The problems with that is, first, it's against the terms and condition. And the second thing that's really a problem with that is when there's a lot of comments on a post and they're coming from people in an engagement pod, we can tell that because they're not comments of value. They're 1 or 2 words, great job, congratulations, yay you, that don't add to the conversation. And if LinkedIn finds out that you're in an engagement pod, you can lose your account. Also, do not use apps that are not on the approved vendor list. Some of those apps are the ones that can scrape the data, but if you're using those, you could potentially lose your account. So avoid those if you don't want to lose your account. And since we are at a break here, I'm gonna go and look at the Q&A and, oh, no new Q&A, the chat. How do
We
you
have a
back up?
couple.
Yeah, Yolanda asked, how do you back up your LinkedIn data? Yolanda, this particular free 1-hour score workshop does not give me the time to be able to walk you through how to do that. It's like, it's just not in this. There are ways. I do have a YouTube video. You can contact me about that. Okay, I like this question from Mildine. She asks, something I recommend to accept LinkedIn suggestions. When I see a name, whether it's a LinkedIn suggestion or whether somebody's reaching out to connect with me, I vet them on a number of things. Are they connected to other people that I'm connected with? And if so, who are those people? And are they in the right group of people? I have in the past connected with some people that are now doing engagement pods and stuff, and I don't want to connect with people that are in that universe, so I don't. But if I saw somebody and they were connected to Allison, I'd like instantly just say, yeah, sure. Even if, a year ago, LinkedIn took away the ability for free users to send a message when they sent a connection request. So now if somebody sends a connection request, it's just cold. You have no information. I have a premium account. If the question comes up, should I get a premium account? Likely not. But because I do, I can send messages when I send connection requests. But if somebody's not sending one, you kind of have to feel your way around. Another thing I do, and I'm going to encourage people to make sure you're active on LinkedIn. If I get a connection request and I go over and I look at somebody's LinkedIn profile and they haven't posted in 6 months, why would I want to connect to somebody that's not offering me any content? I don't know who the person is and they're not giving me anything. The other thing that happens sometimes is you will connect with somebody, they will instantly send you a DM that is spam. And that's when you can very easily just say, oh, I don't want to be connected to that person anymore. That's acceptable because you do not need spam. Okay, and Robin Tucker says LinkedIn analytics are great. Yes, they are. And I love this because it shows me, whether I'm up or down. I could look at my post impressions and it'll show where the peaks and valleys are, which then I can go back through and see what content people like or not. On Friday, I'm leaving for an extended vacation. I will be mostly absent from LinkedIn and my numbers are going to tank. And I know that, and it won't freak me out. So we don't freak out about the numbers. We just use them for information. Okay, I think I'm caught up with chat and Q&A. So we can send private messages in LinkedIn. And one thing I highly recommend is not just starting out with a pitch. Like just, hi, thanks for connecting. You want my services now. That's usually not a good way to build relationships while networking. Let's see, you do build relationships and have conversations to increase collaboration opportunities. I may be on a podcast that somebody may have just started up. I think she's starting to work on season 2. You find people with common interests. Oddly enough, when you're looking at a LinkedIn profile, if somebody's digging down a bit, they can find out a lot of information about you. I'm going to show you one section, like volunteer experience. Somebody may decide, if they're choosing between 2 people to work with, that they might want to work with me because they see in my volunteer experience either that I have worked with a dog rescue or worked with a girls magazine. Sometimes it just comes down to little things that are in common with other people. So don't leave out the little things just because you think they might not be of interest to people, because they might. Oh yeah, Robin, it is 5. So pick those 5. So Robin wrote, with the free account, you can send 5 connection notes per month. Pick those 5 very carefully, especially if there's very specific people that you are looking for whatever reason. If you're looking to have speaking opportunities, if you're looking for a certain clientele, depending on exactly what you're looking for. One of the things that I often tell people is that LinkedIn is not a one-size-fits-all platform. Every single person has to be using it in their own way. The next thing I did was I asked Claude AI, kind of like ChatGPT, except for my son's girlfriend works there, so it's more important. What they think are the worst things people can do on LinkedIn. And they said humble bragging and fake vulnerability. We've all seen that, and we go away from those posts very quickly. Excessive personal life sharing. I will tell you this, once a year, I will post about mine and my husband's anniversary, our wedding anniversary. Once a year, I post that. People love it. People come out of the work comment on it. That's great. once a year. About once or twice a year, I might post something about my grandson. You can do some personal information, not all. Allison Verhalen, I'm picking on you again. She will post often about what fiction she's reading, and that's great because sometimes I'll get my reading list from there. So, sometimes what you post kind of shows that commonality between other people that you know. Also, Allison's a copywriter, so we want to know that she's a word person. Engagement, bait, and manipulation, just don't. Generic connection requests. So this is where, like, I might look over here and see who my viewers have also viewed, and that doesn't mean I should be going down this list over here and connecting with all of these people automatically. Thought leadership theater. I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. Like, I am so smart and I know all the things. I've also seen people be like, they have nothing in their business, nothing in what they do has to do with being motivational or helping people perform to an excess, but they'll always post motivational posts. If it doesn't fit your business or your industry, you can find other things to post. Trust me on that. Over posting. One person I saw posts 3 times a day and then reposts some of their posts. When you post more than once within like 18 hours, LinkedIn gets very confused and it doesn't know what you want it to promote. So basically, this will amount to your 2 posts fighting with each other in the stream to see which one gets the most attention. If you have a really, really, really good reason to post 2 posts within 18 hours, then you can do that. But generally, try to keep things separated by at least a day or 20-ish hours. Inappropriate sales techniques, do they work? Do they ever work? A lot of people use them, which makes me wonder if maybe they do work. And virtue signaling and controversy farming. Don't try to start a fight on LinkedIn. Sometimes it could work, but it's probably a good thing to avoid. According to Claude, and I love this, I'm quoting Claude directly here, the platform works best when people focus on genuine professional networking, sharing actual expertise, and building real relationships rather than people trying to game the algorithm and treat it like Facebook or TikTok or Instagram. I don't have any questions. Yay. Okay, I have also on the sheet that you should be able to see. I'm gonna go back to the sheet. Make sure to find this and print it out. I have created an activity outline, just kind of like follow this, do these every day, do these every month, do these every year, do these every week. Just because sometimes I might tell you to post. What does that mean? Every day? Maybe 2-3 times a week. Check your inbox every day because there might be good things coming in there. I suggested saving connections to a spreadsheet. Maybe do that once a month. You don't need to do that every day. Maybe do it once a quarter. I love when people write recommendations and maybe they'll receive some other recommendations. I like taking time out. I have a group program where I work with people, and once a month we get together and go, what's going on for you next month? And what do you need people to see to drive them to where you want them to go within the next month? So plan your content, sit down once a month and do it, and maybe start planning things for the next quarter, but always kind of double back and check on things. And when you meet new people, if you've gone out to a networking event, in-person networking event, and people have had their card, connect on LinkedIn. LinkedIn likes when you change your profile once in a while. It's like anything else. It likes to see fresh things coming up. It helps LinkedIn get more found on Google, and the more found LinkedIn gets on Google, the better it is for everybody that has a LinkedIn profile. Review if you're in groups. Groups are a thing that LinkedIn has. I could probably do a 20-minute session just on groups. There are good ones, there are bad ones, kind of enter with awareness if you're going into groups. And there is a featured section on LinkedIn. I'm just going to show you that. For me, I have a reintroduction once a year. I just say, hey, this is me. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. I know people that put in infographics. Somebody might put in their book if they want to. You can also put your book in this publications section. Allison, I'm borrowing you for a second. I have never written a book. So I know Allison has written a book and I know she's got it in her publications section. If you are a writer, you can write a book, stick it in your publications section. And if I click this button, it takes me right to Amazon to buy it. So I kind of wonder why people don't use this if they are authors. It's a great thing to use. So think about that if you have a book. That's why I mentioned earlier going through and checking what all the different LinkedIn profile sections are. So now you get homework. These are the things I want you to do. If you can, verify your profile. Good. It's right here on the notes, how to download the data on YouTube. I did put that in there. And figure out what you want for a posting schedule. Do you want to post 1 or 2 times a week? What days do you want those to be? Do you want to go through and check your connection requests twice a week? What days do you want to do that? Do you want to go? I like commenting daily. Maybe spend 10 minutes in the morning just going through your feed and commenting. LinkedIn believes that comments are 10 or more words that add to the conversation. 1 or 2 words does not add to a conversation. It's just sort of noise. Let's see. I do not have any more Q&A, but I have some things in the chat. Hold on. Okay, Jennifer was in one of my webinars a couple of months ago and asked if said that she had 3 grandson all born in less than 3 months. And should she post about that? She works with ad set inventory management tracking, so I thought I might be able to make it funny. I told her yes. This post has gotten more likes than any other post. Oh no, and one of her daughters is pregnant with twins. I love it. And one of the things I love about these personal posts is, especially if you have recently changed something, if you've changed your business or if you've gone from working to having your own business, these kind of posts are things that bring up the personal connections, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, she does that. And it just reminds people not only that you're a mom and a grandma and stuff, but what you do. So if they know anybody who might need to get connected to you, they might. Robin Tucker asks, any thoughts on how the algorithm has changed what you see on your new feed? Delayed posts for more engagement with the network. Yes, Robin, thank you for asking. That's a really good question. LinkedIn has started showing you posts that are a little bit older. And it's something we need to be aware of, especially if you're the type of a person that has events. You can no longer decide 3 days before an event to post your event on LinkedIn, because there's a fairly good chance somebody won't see that thing for 2 or 3 weeks. So we've got to start realizing that LinkedIn does time traveling, and we have to make sure that we're prepared for people to see things a little further out, and not always expect that things will be instantaneous. So find me. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm there. You can join my mailing list. I have a YouTube videos just about LinkedIn. Those are the free ones. There are also some that are available for sale. You'll have to ask me about them. And I love doing presentations, networking groups, chambers, SCORE, love SCORE. I have done presentations for school groups and scout troops, and I've also done things for nonprofit groups. There is a lot of power on LinkedIn for the nonprofit, and there's a lot of nuance there also. I know I work with a nonprofit, and one of the things we're always working with the volunteers and mentors and board members is, hey guys, remember, repost our posts so your audience sees it too. And I'm sure we're going to be putting a little bit more energy into that, as I know it doesn't seem like Thanksgiving is tomorrow, but Giving Tuesday is 3 months away, and nonprofits have got to already be thinking about this. And there's one more thing in that chat. I'm glad you liked it. Anything else from you, Michelle? Any other questions? Make sure to pop them in the chat before we leave.
Haven't seen anything. You, as always, give a very comprehensive presentation. So let's see, you do have your contact information. Excellent. Don't hesitate to contact Mary. She's wonderful and very gracious on what she shares. So, like I said, don't hesitate to contact her. Any advice on how to find people?
How to find people in search? It kind of depends on who you're looking for. So can I have you pop in the chat sort of a generic, like what kind of thing you'd be looking for, Mark? Yeah, there are 10 pages of woos, depending on where you are, Mark. If you're anywhere, if you're in Nashville, I should likely be the first person that shows up. If you're in Chicago, I should likely be the first person that shows up. If you're in Asia, there's a lot of Mary Woos in the world. Here. So I'm gonna do a screen share again, except for I pushed on the wrong button. Okay, there is a Q&A too that I want to go to. I'm going to go to the Q&A, and then I'll come back to your question, Mark. Ayu just joined LinkedIn a few months ago and added her profile. She's not since 100% sure. She doesn't want to tell details about her background, but focused on how to introduce her new business about accounting. Is there any link to learn to make LinkedIn profiles much more interesting? If you look at the link I had about the YouTube videos, there's something on there. July, I think it was July, I did a polish your LinkedIn profile for SCORE. The one thing I'm going to say is, if you're wanting to look for free information about LinkedIn, make sure that the person is knowledgeable and the information is current. I have seen people write that have how to LinkedIn in such and such a year, except for they've uploaded it 3 or 4 years before that. So the upload date means nothing. Make sure information is current and the upload date is current. One of the things I've started doing is putting, making sure at the beginning of a video, I'll say it's July 2025 so that people can see that. Okay, so Mark, you're looking at searches, and I'm going to go back to share screen. Come on, share. Thank you. So, Mark, what's your last name? Let me find my chat real quick here. Hold on. Mark McCaw. Okay. If I type in Mark McCaw, what do I get? I'm going to go to see all people results, and I'm getting 7 pages of Mark McCaw's. Mark, could you quickly put in the chat where you're at? What town you're in? Is this you in Nashville? I'm going to assume that's you in Nashville. So you can, when you're searching, then you can come over here and put in locations, Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm going to go show results. Now I get 1 Mark McCaw. Another thing I can do is find out, like look for somebody who's a second connection and who you're a common connection with. So there's lots of ways to noodle around. Sonia, I don't know how to get prospects and clients in Sales Navigator to respond to requests. I would be I have a lot more money if I knew that. One of the things to do though is to make sure that what's on your LinkedIn is always that you're giving a lot of great information on LinkedIn so people can build that know, like, and trust from your activity. Because one of the things I can do on LinkedIn is, I know Allison won't mind if I show this, and I'm not going to do this to anybody else in the room. I can go down to their activities section. I can look at posts, comments, videos, images. I can say show all posts, and I can see that Allison posted something yesterday, and 2 days ago. It was a book, it was a weekend, and she's posting things every few days, 3 or 4 posts a week. So I know she's there, I know she's active, and I could look at the information and see if it's of interest to me. If I'm going to somebody's LinkedIn and looking at their content and there isn't anything there, I'm not going to want to get too connected to that person. If I'm showing them posting 4 times a week and it's always a pitch, I'm not going to want to get too connected to that person. So making sure you're there and giving valuable information before you start searching for those prospects in Sales Navigator is a useful thing. And I think I've got one more something, or was that a Q&A? A premium member, I'm a premium member and started getting a lot of project requests. Any advice on how to vet those? That would be a request by request thing. A lot of project requests I get tend to be spam. So you have to be really, what's the word I'm looking for? Aware of what you're doing, and never, ever, ever, ever give anybody any financial information or anything like that online. Even if they say they want to give you lots of money, don't give them money first. Okay? And we are at 12:58.
Good job. Good job. So thank you everyone for being here. Please visit our website, our chapter website at score.org/Nashville, and then click on Take a Workshop, and you will see all the events that we have scheduled, and it's constantly being added to. So come back and check often. Mary and I have been talking about what she's going to be doing the rest of the year. She's committed to doing webinars for us. So
October, November, and
yay.
December.
Yeah. So in fact, October sounds so far away, but it's almost September. On September 8th, Wednesday, she is going to be presenting Polish Your Profile. And this is extremely important for your LinkedIn presence. So please be sure to sign up for that one. And she always has handouts, so you're going to have lots of information to be able to review. And I will be sending out the video of this webinar. Give me a day or two. I need to edit a few things out of it, and then it'll be coming to you. Okay. Any closing comments, Mary?
Nope. Thank you all for coming.
Absolutely. It was great. So thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.